This conference will now be recorded.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for joining us for our 25th COVID-19 conference call, stakeholder conference call. I think most of you I know, but for those that you don't, I'm Wayne Mitchell, and I'm the President and CEO of the Nacogdoches County Chamber of Commerce. I want to remind you that we're recording this call, and members of the media have been invited to participate as well. I'd respectfully ask all of you to put your phones on mute and your computers on mute as well. And when we have time for questions, we will transition to that and allow you folks to ask your questions. Today, we're going to ask anyone that has a question for our presenters to please wait till they conclude their comments and remarks. I'm going to begin this morning by at least giving you a few updates about the Chamber. Most recently, we did a survey of our membership, and we had a fairly good return of our survey, asking the important question of whether or not it's too soon or the right time, or they were not sure about starting events and face-to-face meetings again. And I thought you folks would be interested in knowing what the results of those surveys were, that survey question was at this point. We had 25 respondents indicate to us that they believe that it's time, the time is now, and that we should begin scheduling face-to-face meetings and events again. We had 11 indicate clearly that no, it's still too early, and that they were not comfortable moving forward on that. And then we had 7 of the respondents indicate that they were unsure as to whether or not we should be doing face-to-face events again. I found that quite surprising, to be honest with you. I thought that the no's and yeses would be reversed, that we'd have many more no's at this point than we would have yeses. But it's clear that there are folks out there that are anxious to begin to get back to some form of normal, whatever that is, in this new COVID-19 environment. I do want to let you know that we have some events coming up that will probably give us a better insight here at the Chamber of what's going on in terms of events and programs. One is going to be titled The Pivoting, which is an Eggs and Issues program, which will take place this Thursday morning. And if you haven't registered, there's still time to do that as long as you do it today. It's going to feature, we're fortunate to have Gabriel Trillo, Dr. Gabriel Trillo, the superintendent of Nacogdoches ISD. Dr. Trillo is going to kind of give us a sense of how they've had to pivot in order to accommodate the concerns about the COVID health issues associated with that as well. And it'll be interesting to hear his point of view as the brand new superintendent here in Nacogdoches. Then on October 8th, it's an opportunity to meet the new city manager, Mario Canizares. Mario will give us a sense of what's going on at the city as it relates to COVID, I suspect, as well. There are lots of different issues going on, and this is a wonderful opportunity for us to ask questions and get a sense of the direction the city is taking as it relates to COVID. So there's some exciting programs coming up here on the horizon. I do want to let you know that in spite of COVID concerns or taking into consideration the protocols, we are going to attempt to move forward with some other chamber projects in the relatively immediate future. One will be on October 16th, which will be the Blueberry Golf Bash, which we will be hosting. The chamber will be hosting. My understanding is we do have some room for additional teams, so if you're interested, contact the chamber staff, and I'm confident that we can accommodate you. Again, we're going to be practicing rather stringent COVID-19 protocols in order to protect the participants and chamber staff during this very important event. In addition to that, plans are being made to recognize our 2020-21 award winners, and we'll be announcing those in the next few days. So watch your media releases about that. I do want to really take a moment and thank our media partners at the Daily Sentinel, and Josh and Nicole and the group over there for the unbelievable work that they're doing, conveying the messages that relate to COVID-19. In addition to that, Donna's done a wonderful job at KTRE, sharing many of the stories. By my count, we've had over 75 media stories since we started these calls, and I think that's pretty darn impressive. So in addition to the 50 or so, 50 to 100 folks that we have on the calls typically each week, our reach is much broader than that. So it allows people like Wayne Mitchell and President Gordon and others to get our messaging out to our communities at large. And I can't thank our media partners enough for the work that they're doing. It's really important that we share good and accurate information. And last, I do want to acknowledge the fact that without the participation of our partners, our stakeholders, many of which are on this call this morning, these calls, frankly, just couldn't be as valuable. It's so important for us to be able to share what's going on in this environment. The other thing I just want to call to your attention before we transition to really our second speaker today is next week, this gentleman is going to join us, and he is Aaron Demerson. He is the commissioner representing the employers for Texas Workforce Commission. He's appointed by Governor Greg Abbott. He's one of a 3-member commission, and Aaron's going to join us and give us a sense of what's going on as it relates to COVID and employment in the state, and that's not a program to miss. I'd respectfully ask that you put it on your calendar and plan to join us next week. So having said that, we'll now transition into our presenters today. And I'm pleased to introduce the president of the Stephen F. Austin State University, and a guy who is a guy that is probably dealing with more challenges than any of us can possibly imagine, but at least from where I sit, I'm impressed. He's helping that enormous institution navigate these challenging waters, and it's an honor to introduce to you this morning President Scott Gordon. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning. And you know, my mom always said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So, you know, here we are. So I'd like to give a update on a few things today. First, much to the chagrin of many of the prognosticators out there who are predicting higher education enrollments will be down 10, 15, even 20%. We in the university, and I mean that in the whole sense of the university, faculty, staff, every single office on this campus really worked hard to solidify our numbers for a fall semester. And so where we stand now is overall we are down, but down by only 1% in credit hours. And there's some silver linings there because our graduate numbers are up 9%. And that's very impressive. And it's telling us that not only are our graduate programs really connected to the community and the region, but they're very popular as well. And then two other areas that I'd like to mention is our fall to fall retention rate. It's a measure of persistence of our students from freshman to sophomore status. And we were up this semester, despite COVID, we are up 7% fall to fall retention, which is the highest in SFA's history. And then our graduation rates were up this year by 1.3%, which again is the highest in the history of SFA. So a lot of people are working very hard to not only attract students to the institution, but to retain our students. And we're very excited about that. And so moving into this academic year, we're of course going to continue that effort to really make student success number one. And if you look in the back of me, up on the very top of the board, student access and success. that is something I remind myself every day, and I ask all of our faculty and staff to remind themselves of student access and success is why we're here. COVID, just a quick update on COVID. Right now, I should say over the last 4 to 5 weeks when we've had students back, our numbers have been relatively stable. Where do we stand right now? We have approximately 25 active cases. Those students have tested positive, and some of those students have tested positive a while back, and so therefore they will hopefully be testing negative pretty soon. But really, we haven't had a whole lot of symptomatic positive tests, and we're fortunate there. As many of you know, we have set up isolation spaces, and we have essentially 200 beds available for isolation. Currently, today, we have 14 of those in use. So 14 out of 200 is, we've got a lot of room there. Hopefully, we won't have to use it, but nonetheless, we do have it if necessary. But again, those numbers have been pretty stable. We've been ranging anywhere from 8 or 9 isolation beds occupied to, I think the highest we were at was about 17. So that's good news. We're continuing to reinforce the use of face coverings. I think that's been very positive, and our students have responded very well. Another highlight for this semester will be that for the first time in about a year, we will be offering in-person graduation ceremonies for our December graduates. Although we are going to be inviting our May and August graduates, so May of 20 and August of 20 graduates to participate, because they didn't have the ability to have the in-person ceremony. So those commencement dates will be December 11th and December 12th. And we're going to be doing this in a very strict manner as far as face coverings and social distancing. And we're excited because this is kind of the crowning achievement for our students, and we want them and their loved ones to be able to celebrate. So look for that information to be out there, and I know our students have been given that information, and we're going to ensure that we make sure that this is a healthy and safe environment for this celebration. And that concludes my report, and I'll answer any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Gordon. Any questions for Dr. Gordon? Well, again, Dr. Gordon, thank you to you and your staff and faculty for all the great work you folks are doing. You're so important to this community. We appreciate it. Moving on, we will now hear from Sherry Morgan, the director of the Nacogdoches CVB. Sherry, in my unscientific survey, I was unbelievably pleased to see so many cars in the parking lots of our hotels, and it looks like our restaurants are rebounding, and they've been expanded to 75%. So things are looking better in your industry.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Good morning, friends and neighbors. Well, piggybacking on Wayne's insightful observations, we did receive our Smith Travel Report for the month of August, and we were down from 2019, but only down by 6%. And for reference, in July, we were down 32%. So even though we were still in the negative, it was a single-digit negative, and I'm taking that as a win, and I defy any one of you to take that away from me. And the forecast is for September to be not as strong, but strong as well. So we have been very fortunate to be able to end our fourth quarter in a reasonable place. Still looking for love letters. Not only is that the working title of my autobiography, but it is the current state of us over at the CVB. We are looking for love letters to Nacogdoches. Please help us out by contributing in writing how Nacogdoches makes you feel, what specifically about Nacogdoches you love and enjoy, etc. And then, since you'll already be at the computer or have paper and pen out and you're feeling all schmooky and inclined to wax poetic, possibly about me, we'll accept and encourage those as well. But do go to our website or drop them off at the CVB so that we can compile all those for a fundraising book to be sold in 2021 for our 25th anniversary. We're really excited to talk about a new program called Nac at Night. This is our foray into pivoting as it pertains to a drive-in movie. So we are going to be partnering with the A.L. Mangum Jr. Regional Airport and the Civil Air Patrol as well for this October event with the NEA Big Read for the book Circe with a drive-in movie. So it's going to be on October the 10th at 7 p.m. Gates will open at 6. The movie for that evening will be Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And that is in conjunction with the NEA Big Read activities that are going on for the book Circe. That book and the movie share some common literary themes there. It's $20 per car, a maximum of 4 per car. The proceeds will benefit the Civil Air Patrol as well as the CVB. There'll be COVID-19 compliance measures in place, and they will be enforced. And if this one is successful, and if everyone plays nicely and abides by the rules, we're planning on rolling out classic Christmas movies every weekend of December, pending obviously event approval through the usual sources. So this could be like a really cool thing, and we're super excited about it. Joanna Temple, our sales and promotions director, has really worked hard. If you happen to be interested in sponsoring, we do have Chill Nacas already on board as a very generous sponsor. There's been rumblings of some others in the community that want to hop on board and help out with this. Do get in contact with Joanna Temple. And then last but certainly not least, hot off the Spirit Outfitters presses is the newest addition to our legacy line of t-shirts. Kennedy's Jewelers, which joins our anchor design of Mize Department Store. So here's our original. So that's a Mize Department Store. And it could be the softest t-shirt on the planet. But here is the beautiful Kennedy Jewelers. Those are on sale at a friendly neighborhood CVB near you, and they are $14 plus tax. So support your CVB and help us make up the difference that we're losing out on in occupancy in boosting our gift sales as well. So remember us at Christmas time. Anyway, thanks for the time, and I hope everybody has an outstanding week.
Thank you, Sherry, for that great report. And I apologize, Sherry, for that love letter I sent. I apparently misunderstood the concept of that program, and I'll talk to you about that later. So.
Oh, I'm taking that one to the grave.
Well, speaking of love letters, would you please welcome with me the president of the Texas Forest Country Partnership, Nancy Wyndham. Good morning, Nancy.
Hey, good morning. Appreciate this opportunity. I will get right to it. I know we have lots to discuss, but just want to start out with some good news about I'm not the weatherman, and I know you've all been keeping up with it, but Mike Claude is right down the hall from our office at DECOG. He's the Director of Public Safety Programs. And he says that the rain is coming. It may go back out into the water, but it is banned rain, so it's soaking. We're not anticipating any closures or anything of that nature. So that is good news for our region, especially those counties toward the south. So that is good news for them. We still are having a lot of recovery issues. I know Sabine County received a lot of damage from the hurricane as it was coming back off of the lake. Jasper and Newton County, and of course Newton County was the hit worst of everybody in our region. So continue to keep those in your prayer. The recovery efforts, especially over in Louisiana, are still devastating. So we just need to remember our neighbors on that front. As far as COVID, I have one quick story to share with you, and I know there's lots of stories, and I know this call started to keep everybody aware of COVID, and we've morphed into more things, which have been wonderful. But I was talking to our director in Jasper County, and so he sat down. Everything was looking so much better. Their number, but boom, a funeral. There were 2 elderly couples there that hugged everybody, and 14 people that attended that funeral have now been diagnosed positive with COVID. So I'll just encourage everybody. I know we're missing all those great hugs and that personal contact, but continue to do what you've been asked to do, and keep that in mind. Do your social distances, and maybe we can keep those numbers coming down. That's a little bit on the COVID. Our board meeting is October the 13th, and our invited speaker is Amanda Adamez. She is in the governor's office, one of the managers for appointments, and it's been brought to my attention that Governor Abbott has looked at the state and realized we need more East Texas people on some of these appointed boards. So we have invited her to come to our board meeting and give us an overview of that process, that program. So all of you on this call, and I know many of you are familiar with the appointment process, but just a refresher, if it's come to his attention and he has shared that information back out that he needs more people from East Texas, and we're sitting here saying we need the governor's office to recognize what we have here in East Texas. Let's all think about coming to the table and looking at that list of appointed boards. Find something that you either have an interest in or something that you would like to be more active in, and let's rally to the forefront and get our names out there. So it's October the 13th, and we'll send that invitation. Our board meetings are open to anybody that wants to come, or she might be a candidate for a speaker for a future call for Nacogdoches, just to get everybody on the page for that. And then November 18th is our annual meeting, and we've got about an hour and a half. I've mentioned this to you before about the broadband with Lonnie Hunt, with Wynn Rosser, and with Jennifer Harris with Connected Nation. So they're going to bring all of their thoughts together and updates, which I find very positive and encouraging for everybody. That's about it right now. We can go into a lot more detail about business attraction and projects in counties, but we'll save that report for another day. But that's just a little bit of an overview. This region is becoming more recognized. We're being invited to participate in a lot more surveys on rural Texas. So we're very busy with responding to those questions. So thank you so much for this time. You're a great group and a great cheerleader for the region. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Nancy. Any questions of Nancy or comments? And Nancy, thank you. And if you'll get that information to us, we'll make sure that we distribute it about the meeting. And there are many women and men on this call that would be qualified candidates for appointed positions. And I respectfully suggest that if you're interested, that you contact Nancy and attend that program. I think that's a great idea. So there you go. Speaking of the governor's office, I'm pleased to introduce the regional representative for Governor Greg Abbott. Would you welcome Betty Rousseau? Good morning, Betty.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Going along with what Nancy was saying about broadband, the governor's broadband committee meeting is Thursday, and anyone can listen in on it. If you're interested, let me know, and I can send you information, or I can put it in the chat box. Going into just some programs that are out there and available, there's FEMA's National Exercise Program, which offers financial assistance for local governments. It's for exercise design, development, execution, and evaluation to validate capabilities in all preparedness mission areas. There's the Rural Relief Small Business Grants, which opens September 28th. It's through the Local Initiatives Support Corporation. It's for small businesses located in rural communities. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the Small Business Relief Grant Program has provided over 3,000 entrepreneurs with grants totaling over 48 million. There's federal funding for rural communities for USDA. One of them that's ongoing right now is the Community Facilities Direct Loan and Grant Program. There are grants and loans to construct, enlarge, or improve essential community facilities in rural areas. There is a non-federal funding opportunity, the Good Neighbor Citizenship Grants. These are grants which are available to educational institutions, nonprofit organizations, chambers of commerce, and programs conducted by municipal, county, state, or federal government entities to be dedicated towards community development, education, and safety initiatives. Then to remind you, there's the Governor's Small Business webinar tomorrow. It has a veteran focus. It's from 1 to 2. It's a free webinar. The link was included last week in the chat, but if someone missed that, let me know and I can put that in there again. And that's it from me. And thank you once again for including me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Betty, for being such a strategic link between the governor's office. We really appreciate your involvement on these calls. And we appreciate everything that you and Governor Abbott are doing to help us during these challenging times. I'm pleased to welcome with us our state representative, Travis Clardy, this morning. He's missed us for a couple of weeks, but it's great to have you back this morning. Representative Clardy, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Wayne, and everybody. Great to be back. I had been on the road a little bit, got in yesterday, just in time to go to an event in Jacksonville as soon as I got back from driving about 400 miles across Texas. So, but it's good to be here. We took a little stop up to New York City, where we did comply with the state's rules for quarantine, which was fine. There's no restaurants, no shows, no movies, no games, no anything to do anyway. So we stayed with our two grandsons and our oldest son Blake's family. That was a lot of fun. Came back, checked on the home place, and like I said, got in late last night. So good to be back in East Texas at home. So let me wish everybody, I guess since yesterday was the last day of summer, happy first day of fall to everyone. Today being Tuesday, we have 7 short weeks, 42 days, I guess, until Election Day, which y'all may have heard something about. Now with recent events, I guess I would like to kind of steal the page from Sherry Morgan with a very upbeat, optimistic presentation. Wish everybody a happy election season, and please keep your listen with a jaundiced ear, and don't believe everything you hear for the next 7 weeks, and don't let that affect your mood or attitude. But I expect this is probably going to be the most negative and vitriolic and hateful political season we have seen in some time. So just because the people in DC or New York or LA are going crazy doesn't mean we have to. So let's all keep our good spirits and attitudes about us, and we will pull through this thing together, just like we have the COVID deal. On COVID, the numbers are certainly serious. It has done what was projected, if you recall, 6 months ago. I think we're around the 200,000 national deaths, around 15,000 in Texas. That's a significant and serious number, but it's within the projections that were made in March and April, if you recall, from Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx when they were first giving us, this is where we think we're going to go. So in that sense, it has been contained. It did not get away from us. If you look at the statistics, the data on the deaths and the illnesses and the things that have happened, it's really the population and the exacerbating factors, which have led to many of those as contributing factors. But still, it's a real deal. So there's no room for anybody to talk about this as a hoax. But it does seem like we're getting better at having life as usual. And what I've observed around the state and traveling is that people are taking good, reasonable precautions with their masks. And I have found myself in a much better habit of washing my hands and of trying to avoid close contact. So let's keep doing the smart things. But I think we're coming through it, and let's just hope it'll move forward, and they will, soon have the vaccine and have other options available to us. So anyway, we're making our way through the end of 2020. And what a perfect way to end a tumultuous year than to have a Supreme Court nomination and process. That ought to be fun for everybody. So let's just try to pull through it. As far as things locally, Jerry Jones is on the phone with us. We continue to done. She's done great work on constituent services. If you have needs or questions about state government or programs or things, please let us know. We will help you there any way we can. I do expect that we're going to have, it's a great report from Dr. Gordon this morning. Very excited about the SFA and the progress we've made there. And although we haven't won a football game, I've been encouraged by the Lumberjacks on the field. So again, I think it's been a great day for us to start a new season in the fall. We just had the Jewish New Year. I'm looking for any reason at all to think that 2020 is about over. And that's so let's just, whatever works, let's do it. And with that in mind, I would like to say we are going to restart my Travis Clardy State Representative Facebook calls this Friday. I've had several people that have asked to do those again, so it seems like a good time. I've done many other Zoom calls. I've kind of worked through my transitions. I've moved to the Holland Knight Law Firm, so I'm kind of in a good place to start those over. So let's do that this Friday. We'll do it same time, 3 o'clock Friday. We'll do a state rep call. Jerry Jones didn't know this until I just announced this, so we'll start scrambling to get in place to do it. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and it's great to be home.
Great to have you home, Representative Clardy. Any questions for Representative Clardy? Representative Clardy, just kind of looking at your crystal ball, what's going to be the big issue this legislative session? The budget? Yeah.
The budget is always, it is either SB 1, Senate Bill 1, or House Bill 1. So it's always the big issue. That's our primary function. The only thing we have to do constitutionally is pass a balanced budget. This year is going to be even more trying than ever. We're going to get through this biennial budget season okay because of the rainy day fund and other things we've done to kind of tighten our belts. But we're looking at projected $10 to $12 billion shortfall, which is certainly a lot of money. And what I expect will be another $250 billion budget. It's relatively speaking, it's a small number, but it's still real dollars. We are starting to see some things level out. Again, what Sherry talked about with some of the hospitality numbers and figures, hotel taxes, et cetera, but we've not seen we've seen a stabilization of energy prices. We've not seen anything to make us optimistic that we're going to get back to $60 barrels. So, we're going to have to plan project for lower revenues. And because of COVID, there's a lot of talk that there's going to be limitation on the number of bills that we will actually, I'm not sure how this is going to work. I'm not sure if this is legal from a legislative standpoint, but a limitation on the number of bills that members can file or number of bills we're actually going to see, limitation on committee meetings. So this is going to be an unusual session. And then, the icing on the cake will be one we're coming off of what I expect to be really a nasty and contentious campaign season, which is going to leave a bit of a hangover and a bad taste in people's mouths as we get together in January. And it's going to be harder to actually, quote, get together because of the COVID concerns. And then you put on top of that a bad budget session, and then the icing on the cake is redistricting, which we think is going to be handled in a special session. So all of those things are going to make for an eventful 2021. So we'll see. But budget number one, far and away, that's going to be the toughest problem to solve. We don't have printing presses. We're not the federal government. We can't create trillions of dollars out of thin air. So we can only spend money that we have. We're a pay-as-you-go government, which I think is the right way to do things. So that's going to call for some tough decisions.
Well, thank you, sir. Any other questions for Representative Clardy? Well, again, thank you very much, Representative Clardy, and we look forward to chatting with you.
All right, thank you.
Representing the city of Nacogdoches, would you please welcome Dr. Amy Mahaffey, the Communications Director for the city. Good morning, Dr. Mahaffey.
Good morning. Thanks again for having me. I'll try to make my report short and sweet. I am adding here to the chat some links that some of you may be interested in. There was a press conference from the governor last week, and y'all probably covered some of it, so I don't want to replow plowed ground, but the new restrictions and the increased occupancy on several businesses are based upon regional hospital census. And so in here is some information about that. We had some questions from the public about, Nacogdoches specifically versus the region. And the reason this is in place is because our hospitals serve many counties around us. And so they look at each regional area to ensure that as we ease up on restrictions, that the hospitals can still maintain capacity and serve our entire area. And so that's monitored every day and every week as things change. The hospitals report that themselves. And so we continue to try and release that to the public. We also will be releasing and continuing to release our updated case reporting from the state each morning. I'm about to send that out right now. We had 3 cases reported yesterday and a handful over the weekend. And then we also every Tuesday, which is today, release our own curve data. So averages based on the running averages of 7, 14, and 21 days. We want to be diligent in upholding all safety guidelines. And so it's super important that those of you who are on the call and you have coworkers and things like that, that we continue to be advocates for safety. It's certainly not going away. COVID-19 is still very real, and we want to continue to increase mask wearing and safety guidelines across our community so that we all stay safe. We also, just as some information, it's not necessarily COVID-19 related, but something that I'm very proud of, and I know a lot of our city employees are, we have deployed several firefighters to California. And so I think that may be of interest to this group just in terms of disaster management. We all know the challenges that they're facing in California. Texas as a whole has sent over 17,000 firefighters and 17,000 firefighters across fighting the fires, and then 235 firefighters from Texas. We are also excited to have deployed some of our very own people. And I'm sorry, people are knocking on my door needing to talk to me. So I apologize for being distracted. But that's just something to think about. We've got personnel. Our Fire Marshal Mike Brown is leading his own crew. And then there's several others that you can check out on our social media. I know they've been in the paper, and we're just very proud of them. And we want you to keep their families in your thoughts and prayers, just because they're making a huge sacrifice going out to California. And that's just something that we're really proud of. So if that's anything on your mind, and as you're watching it on local news, know that our local folks are representing Nacogdoches very well, and also just kind of keep them in your thoughts and prayers. So with that, if there aren't any questions, that is my report for this morning. Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you, Dr. Mahaffey. Any questions for Amy? Well, thank you very much, Amy. We will keep those firefighters in our prayers and for a safe return, and certainly the folks in California, what they're dealing with. I'm pleased to now introduce the president and CEO of the Nacogdoches Economic Development Corporation. Would you welcome Larissa Philpott? Good morning, Larissa.
Good morning, Wayne, and everyone else. Not a huge report today, just reminding everybody that those economic stimulus grant applications are still live on the City of Nac's website. I added the link to the chat box there. You can also just go to the City of Nac's website and find it there. We've got about 30 applications in so far. I feel really confident that the city will be able to allocate the first round of funding and hopefully start opening up that second round of funding soon. So thank you to the City of Nacogdoches for being able to offer this program to our businesses. We've had a good response, and I think it'll be really helpful. That's all I have.
Larissa, I just want to compliment you and Nedco and the bankers that got together so quickly to put together the mechanism to vet those loans and to begin that process. It's pretty darn impressive.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you saying that. I do want to say thank you to the NEDCO board for supporting us and helping us here at city staff. And then also thank you so much to our banking community. They were great with the P3 loan process for our small businesses. And they have been great getting this program designed together. This is the first time the city's ever done something like this. So we just ask everybody's patience. And we're excited that we can do it for the community.
That's great. Thank you, Larissa, very much. Any questions, Larissa? And again, thank you. Well, would you welcome with me, please, the president and CEO of the Nacogdoches Area United Way? And I got the chance to impersonate him at a previous meeting this morning. So there you go. I don't think I'll do as good a job as Gary Lee will do.
Well, you know, that's bless your heart, and you do a better job than I do. Thank you, Wayne, for doing that. I couldn't be there for SFA reasons. I teach a class at that time, much to Scott Gordon's, I'm sure, despair. But anyway, want to say the word. It's a short report, believe it or not. The word is annual fundraising campaign. The other words are please donate, please, please to the Nacogdoches Area United Way if you have not already, and thank you if you have. The campaign in Nacogdoches County is going well. We're trying to light it up to another level. For those of you all that get all excited about the thermometer sign, it's a work in progress. If we ever get some sunshine, better days ahead. Thank you, Sherry Morgan, for that theme. We plan to have a team out there, and Sherry Morgan's team is going to redesign that sign. We'll have a big ceremony to kick off October. So that's kind of the plan, man. So also want to mention that a couple more things. Shelby County, we have a board member named Stephanie Ellswick, who is with the Light and Champion. She is very active and very, very aggressive, and doing a good job of our first really good Shelby County campaign. And believe me, they need the help of United Way funding down there. We have, you know, we're sort of like the second in the state of Texas poverty-wise, and we've got a lot to do to help those that need us most. Ellen Garner is also doing a great job for Shelby County, and that she's working on a program right now to get the emergency food and shelter program money to Shelby County after getting scads of money to our agencies here. And I'll finally say thank you to all of the nonprofit agencies like Love Inc. and Boys and Girls Club and Hope Helping Other People Eat. Donate to the Helping Other People Eat because they need it. There's still food lines. There's still people needing help. I personally am still getting calls from people out of work needing to know what to do. And we're able to refer them to agencies that are working hard to keep them sustained until they can go to work again. And of course, wear those masks. I just love them. But whoever was reporting, I guess it was Amy reporting on that, this COVID thing ain't over yet. And then when I look out and see people just wandering around without masks, it kind of bugs me a little bit. So not a judgment, just something you ought to kind of take care of. I will say to SFA, just so y'all know, those students on campus, I happen to know, are wearing those masks, and they're very aware and very, very, very careful. So we're really thankful for that. That's concludes my report. Unless anybody has any questions, again, please donate. We really do need your help now. Thank you very much.
Any questions of Gary Lee? Well, thank you, Gary Lee, for all you and Caroline are doing for the citizens of Nacogdoches County. So, would you please welcome with me this morning on the agenda, Les Linebarger. Les, any updates from the NASD?
Yes, sir. Absolutely, Wayne. Thanks for having me on. Nacogdoches ISD is in its third week of classes. Our elementary schools, all students whose parents want in-person instruction are on campus every day this week, while the phase-in plan continues at our middle school and high school campuses. I want to take a moment to brag on our community partners who joined in our Dragon Connected program. where access is provided to wireless internet connections. Participants in Dragon Connected include the city, county, chamber of commerce, along with businesses around town, as well as a number of churches. And just last week, we picked up 3 more participants after we launched the program. And Wayne, thank you so much for the Chamber's participation in this program. And I thank everyone out there who've helped out. It's an incredibly generous community, and I'm reminded of that every week. Wayne, that's all I've got.
Thank you, Les. Any questions of Les? Well, I'm going to put her on the spot this morning, but Lisa King, I noticed you've joined us. I hope you had a wonderful trip to Alaska. And any quick updates from the hospital, Lisa? Well, maybe not. I see Dr. Head's on as well. Dr. Head, anything to report?
We have a board meeting tonight at 5 o'clock.
Thank you, sir, very much. Appreciate that. Any other comments from any of other guests or stakeholders this morning? Well, if not, again, I remind you that Eggs and Issues will feature Dr. Gabriel Trujillo on Thursday morning, and we hope you'll join us if you're available to do that. Again, we thank all of our presenters here today, and please visit the Chamber website for COVID information, and we hope you folks have a safe and prosperous week. Thank you very much.